Eritrea has formally formed an Ethiopian opposition armed group. Welcome to my views on news. Thanks for watching the channel. Good to be with you. Two main stories in this video. Firstly, a few days ago, I told you about a new armed group being formed in Eritrea to fight the Ethiopian security forces. A news which I broke several days ago is being confirmed by several sources. What is the name of this group? Secondly, Donald Trump is visiting 3 countries next week, showing what his priorities are. Let's start with this story, which is about Donald Trump, the US president. Donald Trump is embarking on foreign visits next week, and he's starting from the Middle East. Reportedly, he'll visit 3 Middle Eastern countries next week: UAE, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. The 3 rich Middle Eastern countries are going to be visited by Trump. Why? Why did Trump choose the Middle East for his foreign visits? Well, Trump needs money. He's a businessman. He wants to raise money for his people. And those who pledge to invest in the US are his friends. Those who receive support, financial support from the US are not important for him. That is why no African leader has been invited to meet Donald Trump so far. He's met with several world leaders, but I'm not aware of any high-level meeting between an African leader and Donald Trump. Why? Because Africans receive aid. African countries don't invest in the US. These Middle Eastern countries, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, they have oil money and they're ready to invest billions in the US. That is why he's visiting Middle East. Africa is not on priority agenda of the new US government. That is why you'll see more Russian, Chinese, and Middle Eastern countries' influence in Africa. US influence in Africa is set to decline. Whether UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar are involved in human rights abuses or not, it does not matter for Trump government. He only wants relations with these countries because they're ready to invest in the US, and saying these countries are supporting Trump's policy about Israel-Hamas war. These Middle Eastern countries, Muslim countries, but they never join hands against US-backed Israel. They only issue statements, but they remain split. Their divisions are exploited by Israel and US government. Our second news story is about the formation of an armed group in Eritrea, an Ethiopian armed group which has announced to start its fight against the ruling party in Ethiopia. Ethiopian and Eritrean governments are raising proxies against each other. Ethiopian government mobilizing, training Brigade Nihamedo, Resado, Eritrean Far National Congress, TAGI, and other Eritrean opposition groups. Though so far only announcements are being made, these Eritrean opposition groups are establishing their offices, but practically they have not launched any activities against the Eritrean government so far. Eritrea is quick to retaliate. I said months ago, when PM Abiy was publicly backing Brigade, I said Eritrea will not sit idle. It will retaliate. Retaliation has come. I told you about Ibrahim Usman Aliyu, an Afar government leader who fled to Eritrea. I told you that he was going to raise a militia in Eritrea to penetrate the Ethiopian Afar region to start attacks on Ethiopian security forces. News confirmed. Ibrahim Usman has formed a new Afar opposition fighters group. The name of this group is Afar National Union Revolution Front, ANURF. Ibrahim Usman was part of Ogogomo. He was working as Minister of, he was working as a regional minister. He was a member of our regional council too. But he developed differences with the federal government, with the ruling Prosperity Party government in Afar because of the policies of these governments about Somali Isas and about Tigrayans. Tigrayan opposition fighters, anti-TPLF fighters are being allowed to use Afar soil. Somali Isas of Somali region of Ethiopia, they're being settled in territories claimed by Afars. Datul, Dufo, Garbaise have been contested between Somali and Afar governments. So Ibrahim Usman was not happy with Abul Arba's government. He chose to leave Ethiopia. He fled into Eritrea. Obviously, intelligence agencies contacted him. After contacts, he decided to leave Ethiopia. He was accompanied by hundreds of armed men. Not hundreds, dozens rather. Dozens of armed men when he entered Eritrea from the far region of Ethiopia. Now, in Eritrea, he has formed ANURF. He is releasing pictures of his fighters armed. They're being trained there, they're being armed there in Eritrea. What do they plan to do? Well, these Ibrahim Usman led Afar fighters say that they want to remove Prosperity Party regime. This regime is working against Afar interests. That is why they'll return to Ethiopia and fight the Prosperity Party forces in Ethiopia. So before the launch of Eritrean opposition groups from Ethiopian Afar region, I think Eritrea is going to launch anti-Ethiopian government Afar opposition fighters group led by Ibrahim Usman. Afar region, I've been warning, is going to turn into battlefield between Eritrea and Ethiopia. The two countries want to achieve their objectives, strategic objectives, using Afar territory, Afar land. Afars need to be very careful. Thanks for watching.